Welcome to Pass It On, a show that wants to add value in the lives of people. We want to be able to challenge mentorship conversations. We want to be able to help you to add value in the lives of people who are in your life, to make sure that they are challenging, that they are mentoring, they are doing everything they can so that every young person can be able to be assisted. Imagine the opportunity that we have to add lives in the people who we live with. And today we are actually going to have a great conversation. I'd like to introduce our guest for us. Is a man who I respect, who we've known each other for a while. I can allow him to tell us who he is. Karibu, Aref.
Thank you,
Yes.
Nyingi. I'm Reverend James Gaho, and I love Jesus as my personal savior. I serve with the Anglican Church, Diocese of Nairobi, stationed at St. Elizabeth, Kahawa West. Amen. Yeah.
Wonderful. And
Mm.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. Two conversations we're going to have today. One is we're going to talk about mentorship and mentorship in the area of marriage. We have a lot of challenges. A statistic that was done showed that 50% of Christian marriages are ending up in divorce. And we are thinking, what is wrong? What's happening? How come most people who get into this great, awesome relationship that God intended don't seem to find the value, the fulfillment that they need, and all sorts of issues are coming up. And so, to be able to start this conversation, Rev, maybe to ask for you, tell us about your view of marriage and why it's key. And as much as later we'll talk about why we need to mentor young people in this regard.
That is true. Thank you for calling me here. So this is an area that I'm very passionate about because marriage institution is very, very important. Very, very important. And as much as we will go to understand the mentorship area so that as people come into marriage, they'll be able to get the right values and the right direction. Marriage is very important. Number one is because it was ordained by God. God is the one who, who ordained. And therefore, marriage is holy. And we need to treat it as such. If you read the book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 4, Jesus was responding to a question that was brought to him. And it appears marriage issues, problem and challenges started long time ago. Because even the first marriage,
Yes.
didn't we have a problem? We did, the very first marriage.
Yes.
And that's why there was that charge. Then we are thrown out of the Garden of Eden. And Jesus was telling them that he quoted when they asked him a question, can someone divorce? Can someone give? Can a man give his wife a letter of divorce? And then he said, Moses did that because of your hardness.
Yes.
But from the beginning, he created, in fact, he has a question. Didn't you know or didn't you read, haven't you read that in the beginning he created male and female? He did not even say people. He said male and female, and they were supposed to be one. Mhm. So he did that so that he may show them that that thing was done by God from the beginning, that him that created them from the beginning. So he was referring to the quotation in the book of Genesis, where in the book of Genesis chapter 1, he says that in the beginning God created male and female. And that's where we see the creation of the first marriage or the first family. So he was quoting that the very beginning, after he created everything else, the last thing he did is to create man and wife to be together. So the marriage, before we go anywhere, people should look at it with awe and fear and reverence unto God. And the way people treat marriages today is unfortunate. It's like they don't realize, they are not conscious about the seriousness of the matter because God is involved. in this thing. The second thing that God created, why marriage is very important, very significant, it is because it is the third major rite of passage. The others is birth, and then after birth there is adulthood, and then after adulthood there is marriage, and then there is death. In my view, those are major rite of passage, and every rite of passage carries weight, and it means a lot in the life of a person. So, and therefore, when we mention marriage, it comes third. And every stage, there's what happens. And God saw that it is important that we go through those stages. So it's a very important, very significant, because it's a rite of passage in a life of a person. And you cannot skip any. Because if you skip, then you will not be you're not the right person. Your personality will not be complete. Then the third thing why marriage is very significant is because it's an agreement between two people. Now, when we talk of agreement between two people, there is a lot of sensitivity because you are bringing two personalities together, and each one of them, they carry their own inclinations. They carry their own backgrounds. And so to join these people together become very key. It is a key thing because you have, for them to survive in that marriage, they have to agree. There has to be cohesion, there has to be, oneness, and it's not an easy thing. So it becomes very, very significant because that life, and mark you, if you are to live 100 years and you married at 25, which part in your life did you live more years? So it's marriage. Yes. So unless you die very quickly, but what we know basically, when you get married, that is the longest life compared to the earlier one. So, and that's why it becomes very significant because it affects every facet of your life. When you join with another person, it affects all what involves a human being. And so that's why marriage is become very key because of that aspect of you must agree with someone else who and you are totally different. Yes. So some people even come from different background as far as tribe is concerned. Yes. Others maybe education levels, and that becomes very tricky for you to agree and to move on in that long life.
And maybe to mention, based on our conversation, is it important for young people as they are coming into marriage to receive mentorship on marriage? Why is that important?
In fact, that's why we are building the whole block about the importance of marriage. Yes. Because looking at what I'm mentioning, or what you are saying here, yes, don't you think you need to be guided? Yeah. I normally ask one question. When it comes to all other matters of life, yes, be it being shown how to take to breastfeed, you are shown, yes, by someone, though you are tiny. Yes. How even to go for toilet, yes, you are shown everything. You are taught, yes, even how to take a spoon to your mouth. Yes. And after that, after you are 3 years, you are taken to school, yes, to be taught. Every part of life, for you to move on, you have to go to some learning, some training. Why does it come to our society today? That's the only institution people ignore. And I see young people, unfortunately, ignoring that do I have to be shown? What don't I know? I remember many people have told me that. What don't I know? If you are trying to initiate something to them, that it is important as you begin this relationship that you be mentored, you be guided. And I think that's why we are here. That's why this is a pass on is very key for us to be here. And I wish that many people will see the importance. Yeah.
And maybe to also agree with you, I have done a lot of youth ministry. I've talked to young people. I was realized the other day I was doing an audit. I realized I've probably reached around 250,000 young people.
Oh.
Yeah, and two things I have noticed in terms of challenges. The first thing I've noticed is that young people don't know how to do relationships
Yeah.
the right way. Like the marriage right now. One time I went to a bachelor's party. I was invited. This young man was going to get married the following weekend. And so here we are together as men. And I was told to speak. So I decided to ask this young man, why are you getting married? The reasons that he gave me totally shocked me. I mean,
Yes.
I could not believe that that's like he's only thinking about sexual intimacy. That's the only reason why he's getting married. And I thought, married 10 years, thinking, wow, I miss this guy that surely does not know what it takes. So, are there certain spaces that are key for young people to be prepared in so that they can be ready for marriage? What would you say? What are some of the things you feel are important a young person must be guided or mentored through in the area of relationships before maybe we go to the four phases of a relationship?
Actually, you have mentioned something very, very important. Whenever young people, start relating, people start relationship anywhere, anytime.
Yes.
And when they are of age, 20 something, they think and they assume that is maybe they are being guided to get married. And that's why you find them now relating. You have said that that young man answered and said that it's about issue of sexual intimacy. You find that people start relating and they go to counseling the last few days towards the wedding or toward the occasion. Why? Because the assumption, the only area that need to be told what to do is the area of intimacy. So I normally find very mistaken ideologies about why are you getting married. Okay, but that should not be the case. And that's why this forum is very key, because we want to bring to the understanding that from the word go, there are several stages, and that's why we have at least 4 phases that we need to bring to our understanding. That one need to go through. Okay, every other stage you need to be guided. This is what it starts all the way, even when you are so young, and that's how I look at it. Yeah. Yes.
And maybe to just run us through, because that's one of the conversations we've been having.
Yes.
There are 4 phases of a relationship, and we are actually going to take time and go through every one of them. We're actually going to do this as a series so that people can be able to say, if I'm going to help a young person, what do I need to do? Even as we show you, that we can also add value. Some of you who are thinking about marriage and you want wisdom on how to, we actually have where we can be able to help you. And the first phase has to do with life before the relationship. That is life. Before you get into a relationship, there's a life you need to be able to live. There are certain things you need to be able to consider. Then secondly, there's what we call life within the relationship. So you've already ID'd this person, you know who they are, you're going to relate with them. Then there's the idea of after now, that relationship, there is what we call courtship, where now life after courtship, where you've said, you've agreed you're going to get married. And then finally, there's actually now life within the marriage. What is your overview of those 4 before we go for a short break and then come and discuss, the first phase?
It's just like what we started by saying, that every stage requires some guidelines. And we, from our understanding and our research, is that those 4 stages will comprise what is basically important for you to understand. And that's what we'll be mentioning. They are very key for our young people to be able to address to themselves on those areas. So you need a mentor so that he can guide you, show you this is what you need to know before you go to the other stage. Because every stage contributes to the other one. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about phase 1 of that relationship. What are certain things that a young person, before they get into a relationship, needs to be prepared in? so that they can be able to maximize their relationships, especially as they get into marriage. See you after this small break.
Welcome to Nisi Television, House of Rest. We are a Christian TV station airing spiritual, nourishing, and morally shaping content. To advertise your product and service or book a preaching session with us, call us on 0745 849622 or 0722 358590. You can also email us at nisitv2020@gmail.com. Nisi Television, House of Rest.
Have you been searching for a plot to build your home? A place with beautiful environment, accessible roads, modern schools, electricity and water? Relax. Your prayer has been answered. Your real partner is here. We have a new breathtaking project located at Ruai Joska, right next to Sunshine Duvoine. We are selling plots going for a super special offer, Sanitizer Gardens. And don't forget, all these plots have ready title deeds. Call us on 0714-717-777 or 0727-779-777. Changamka, chukua hatua, jiinue na ploti, lipa mdogo mdogo. The Fortune Gardens, jiinue na ploti.
Welcome back to Pass It On, a show that wants to be able to challenge older people to invest their lives in younger people or in mentees. We believe that you have wisdom to be able to pass on to younger people. Today we are talking about marriage. We have a guest today, Reverend Gaho, and we are trying to demystify why is mentoring young people in the issue of marriage and marriage preparation important. Before the break, we were talking about that marriage has 4 phases, and rather preparation to get into marriage has 4 phases. There is a life before that relationship that you intend to have for life. There is life after. Now you've identified someone and you're trying to discover each other and grow your relationship in friendship. We have courtship, where you've already made the commitment to go towards the marriage, and then there is life in marriage. And so we want to take time and talk about that first phase. And Reverend, a lot of young people get into these relationships and they miss out on very key elements. I know there are 3 elements that are very important in life before the relationship. There's the element of discovery, where, and we are going to talk about it. So there's actually discovery, there's also development, where an individual is growing, and then there's the element of discipleship, to be able to have a relationship with God. Maybe we can begin with the first one. Why is it important in this one of preparation for marriage in the area of discovery? Why is it important, and what are some aspects that are important in that area?
Thank you. I normally say that there's nobody who fell from heaven.
Yes.
All of us, we came from home. We came from a family. We were born.
Yeah.
There is nobody, a human being, that just came. And so home is very, very important. And here we are talking about mentoring people. And mentoring, I know most of us know, is working with a person, showing them different areas and, working with them and helping them to discover and to know what they need to do so that they will be the right people to fit in various places or position or what are responsibilities. So nobody who can say he's never guided. So from the word go, when somebody is born, that's where many things happen. It's the background in a simple term. And that is where that people need to discover who they are. Because what in the background you are brought up, makes you.
Yes.
The background, your background makes you who you are today. And it makes your personality. Your inclinations and your behavior comes from your background.
Yes.
And that's why we have to talk to the young people. Number one, so that they can accept to be guided by people who knows. Because I see them wrestling with the issue of being cancelled towards marriage.
Yes.
And this should happen long before they even get their life partner.
So the premarital counseling is not a few months to marriage.
No. That's where they mess up.
Yes.
And but we are here so that we can help them.
Yes.
We can help one another so that we discover that. Because
Yeah.
you need someone to guide you.
Yes.
So that through your his guidance or her guidance, you're able to know what made you.
Okay.
You know, you are able to analyze yourself. Even when you get into the marriage, it's an issue of the person themselves, the personality.
Yes.
And some of these temperaments, they develop from such backgrounds.
Yes.
Some people are very angry. Have you ever heard people say, even my mother used to do like that?
Yeah.
Even my dad used to do like that.
And they're bringing into marriage. So if they don't sort the issue of discovery and discover what they know. So why is background important why does background affect marriage in the area of discovery?
Yeah, it is because you have to know yourself.
Okay. Okay.
You have to be guided to know yourself so that you are able to guide that background of yours. Because we may not change what you are made by your background, but we can learn.
Yes.
You know, we talk of learning, relearning.
Yes. We say
Unlearning. Yeah, it's also unlearning. See, Leo? And this is in the world of scholarly work, whereby you don't have to hold on things. You must not be static on the things that you learned and keep on working with them and they are not helping you.
Yes.
You need to discover that is the importance of learning new things and learning which are not maybe very important, so that you are able to move on.
Yes, and relearn. Which, so you're saying, so your background will affect marriage?
Very much.
Okay, because how you are brought up, like maybe you are brought up from a single parent.
Yeah.
That you need to be able to figure what that looks like before you get into this relationship.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of people get into marriage, they haven't figured those things.
In
How
fact,
does it affect marriage?
In fact, we know
Yes.
marriages, you have said that 50%, is it 52%?
Yeah, 50% of Christian marriages
they are broken, yeah?
Yes.
And we know it's a day-to-day thing.
Yes.
We are hearing how the conflict in marriages.
Yes.
As we are hearing those stories
Yes.
from the media and within our community, it is in the same measure they are affecting the young people. So if your father was fighting, was always fighting,
Yes.
there is a likelihood the young man
Yes.
in that marriage
Yes.
will tend
Fight.
to fight. Okay, I have seen many people, I have met with young people, and I see them drinking so much. I always ask them, sometimes I even declare to them, your father was doing the same, or your grandfather.
Yes.
There is that likelihood, it carries on.
It carries.
And those behaviors, you know, the mentorship and counseling is about trying to change the behavior,
Yes.
okay, to adjust that behavior. You are being informed so that your behavior that is significantly affecting you or significant others. Because in counseling, we talk about the behavior that is either hurting you or the significant others. So when we discover that and you are not able to help yourself, so that's why you need someone to come and help assist you to discover other areas in your life or other helps within you, other potentials that you can utilize. You had not seen them. So it is not about really condemning how you are brought up, but it is for you to discover how I was brought up can affect me in this way or the other if I'm not careful. That's why you need that person. Because you yourself, you may not be able to do that. You need someone to guide you.
Okay.
Yes.
So the second area is education. How does education or development affect marriage?
Definitely, that is just like the way you are putting it. Because you need to learn. You go to school so that you can learn many things. Education, what it does, it exposes you. It exposes you to the world of knowledge. It helps you to discover many things out there. That's why we go to school, so that we can hear what other scholars have said, what other experienced people have said about life, and so that we don't just go in a, green. You are too green. When you are so green in something, you tend to make mistakes. In this marriage, sometimes the small things are the ones which affect our marriage. What we call in the Bible, the small fox, the little things. Just because you didn't get someone to let you know what it is. So education is key. It exposes you.
Okay. And also maybe your orientation towards school and things you learned, the attitudes you had, the people you had, can shape your idea of marriage.
In fact, in future, we'll go deeper in the area of education. But you discover that when you are two apart, this is a graduate, and somebody finished class 4 or 8, then you get married. Okay, you are going to discover that there is a lot you need to do. We will not say that you don't get married, but you need someone to mentor you. How do you live together? This is a graduate, and this is you are so too far apart in the area of education. Yes.
Okay. And maybe lastly, and I know we are going to go deeper in this conversation.
Yes.
What is the place of discipleship in marriage? Why is it important for young people who are thinking marriage in the future to have a relationship with God?
We commenced by saying that marriage, why it's very important, is because it's holy. Why? Because of who started it. So when we talk of discipleship, it's about the spiritual aspect, the upbringing spiritually, because God is the only one who can make our marriages stand. So the fourth man. Remember the story in the Bible where Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were put in the fire, and because they trusted God, the fourth man came in. So if we are to use that, there has to be the third person.
There's a verse in the Bible that says that a three-corded string is not easily broken.
Exactly, Ecclesiastes. So you cannot break when they are together, as compared to when it is one. So you have to be involved in the things of God. And we will go deeper on that. But let me put it this way. Those people who get involved in the work of the ministry, in the work of God, they are better placed. They are better placed in terms of to have a great marriage. But we will discuss more on that, probably to justify that, or to show why. Why you need to understand why church, why the things of God, so that your marriage can be better. Yes.
Okay. And I think something that is important, you see, if God ordained marriage, He's the one who made marriage. There's no way
you can separate Him.
You can separate the originator of something and say, I can do marriage the way
you are.
Without having that. Well, and I know this is a great conversation which we are going to have. So today, the conversation for us is, by the way, a question for you. Do you have someone who mentors you? You are thinking of marriage in the future. Do you have someone who's journeying with you, giving you wisdom, challenging you, so that you can be able to look at marriage in the right way? Are you receiving mentorship? Or do you go for premarital counseling a few months before you get married? And, according to Reverend Gaho here, he's saying that you actually need to have gone way before, probably even 3-4 years before, you can be prepared. What we are trying to say in this conversation is, if you don't have wisdom, if you don't have guidance, if you don't have people who are teaching you what marriage looks like and what it is supposed to be and the foundation of marriage, you may not have a great marriage. So maybe you're there and you're thinking, well, I already started, I'm in trouble. You can actually reach out to us. In fact, Reverend Gaho and I are hosting a program to just support individuals to be able to figure what does marriage look like. But for us, for today, the conversation is this. Before you get into that relationship that you want to last for 17 or 75 years,
Yes.
have you prepared yourself? Have you thought about it? Rev, before we close, what are your last words on the issue of mentorship and marriage?
In my view,
Yes, what would you tell the audience? You can look at the
it's
camera and tell
it
them.
look funny,
Yes,
for lack of better word.
yes,
I want to be a little bit simpler.
yes.
You go to learn something that you don't live with it for a long time, because we normally go to learn so that we can work for the next 25 years and retire.
Yes.
But marriage,
Yes.
and you go to school, you go up to, you really struggle, and
Yeah.
people pay school fees and invest a lot in education, and then they work for the next 30 years,
Yes.
and then they go.
Yeah.
But marriage is the rest of your life.
Yes.
So why don't you consider learning about it is also key.
Yes.
The way you found that career is also very important.
Yes.
So I would really challenge us that consider learning about marriage.
Yes.
And it begins even as far as when you are very young, so that you don't make mistakes in future.
Wow. Yeah, you go to school from nursery all the way to the university for a career that you're going to be with for 30, 40 years. You get married and it's for the rest of your life. Which do you think needs investment? We want to challenge you. Maybe you are, whichever stage you are in, look for a mentor who can journey with you. Well, we come to the close of our conversation. We will be continuing this conversation and go deeper into what are preparations that a young person needs to have. Or maybe you're a mentor. How can you prepare a young person way before they get into a relationship, when they are in that relationship, after they have made a decision for the individual that they are going to be with the rest of their lives, and then when they get into marriage. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much, Reverend, for being part of our conversation today.
Thank you.
I will leave you with this. Marriage was meant to be a beautiful thing. But if you've never gone somewhere, you've never gone to a city or gone to a certain place, you need somebody to guide you. This could be the conversation. It could be maybe somebody older who's living where you are, who's gone through marriage, or they are in marriage, or they have expert wisdom. It could be even books and resources. Don't just sit there and say, I don't have someone. It's time for you to be able to learn. And if you are there, you're a mentor, you have a great marriage, you understand what that looks like, don't just die with that information. Don't just keep the information to yourself when there's a young person who's struggling. Make sure that you pass it on.